Welcome back here on Linder Farm Network, and I am joined by Congressman Jim Hagedorn. And Congressman, you recently delivered a letter to Secretary Perdue. Why is this a priority?
So what we've uncovered in the hog markets is that it looks like packer-owned hogs have been processed at a higher level, higher percentage than independent-owned hogs. And why that's a problem is because the packing plants have been either shut down or we've had disrupted operations because of the coronavirus situation. And we have independent farmers who are being discriminated against, it appears. And we want to make sure everybody has their contracts honored and that we have a proportionate response to this. We're all in this together. You know, our independent farmers, especially our livestock farmers in southern Minnesota, mostly hogs, they're in trouble right now. They're on the brink of extinction, insolvency, and we have to help them, and we can't let them be abused in any way.
Have you had any conversations with Secretary Perdue or the USDA about these issues?
Well, the USDA people that we talked with said that they appreciated us kind of bringing this to their attention, that the secretary look into it. I made a point in the letter to say that the secretary is the president's designee under the Defense Production Act. He has extensive powers now to keep the meat packing plants operating and to make sure that that's done appropriately. So I hope he'll utilize his position in doing that and make sure that we have fairness and that our independent farmers are treated properly. I mean, they're really under a lot of stress, and we can't allow this to be added to the problem.
What are the next steps? What actions would you like to see the department take?
Well, as far as the processing plants, they're trying to get them up and running. I appreciate that. What we need to do, though, is mitigate these losses. You have pork producers, cattle producers, even some poultry folks who have been selling into a depressed market because demand is down. When the coronavirus hit and we ended up shutting down restaurants, a lot of those finer cuts of meat, the demand for that went down, and the futures markets went through the floor. And then you had a situation with the packing plants being shut down, and before you know it, farmers are in trouble. So we need to mitigate those losses and then also help our farmers, unfortunately, euthanize probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hogs. We won't even be able to use that meat into the food supply, and we need to make things right for them on that as well. So I'm looking at at least $5 billion to get that done for hogs, another 10 to 13 for livestock. And our other producers, soybeans and corn producers, for instance, they're struggling too, and the prices are down. But if the livestock industry in southern Minnesota is consolidated or we have any kinds of issues like this, it's going to affect everybody. So we're focused on that. Congress needs to get back and help with some more money. Commodity credit corporations need to be replenished. And then the Secretary of Agriculture and the President need to focus in like laser beams and help this livestock industry get back on its feet.
Does your letter echo the concerns you're hearing from southern Minnesota farmers?
Yeah, actually, I've been working very closely with southern Minnesota farmers throughout. We came up with a risk management program that would help us in this situation and also in the future if we ever had an African swine fever or some sort of infectious disease outbreak to make sure we could mitigate losses in those areas. But our local farmers have been sensing that they were being mistreated, and we went back and looked at the data from USDA and found that was the case, that packer-owned hogs were being processed about 8 or 9% more during these last months than independent-owned hogs. So, the farmers out there, they get it. They're smart, hard-working business folks, and as long as I'm in Congress, we're going to make sure that they're taken care of and they're supported because, after all, this is a national security issue. Our food supply is very important to the American people, and we're blessed in this country to be able to walk into the grocery store and have an array of quality products at affordable prices. I mean, it's just something. So we have to be there for the people that produce our food.
What else are you working on relating to the livestock and pork issues?
Well, it affects more than hogs. And, of course, the cattle producers, they're losing $300 to $400 a head. You've had disruptions with the poultry processing. And I just think across the board, we have to make sure that nobody loses because of this pause in the economy. It's no fault of their own. The sad thing is about 2 or 3 months ago, when I was talking with farmers across the district, they were just getting optimistic again. We had the passage of the United States-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. There was the China One deal, Japan, and then the ethanol program was finally being administered the way Congress intended. Farmers were optimistic. It was an early spring, a good growing season. And then all this stuff hit with the coronavirus. So we're just going to have to work through it. Going to have to sustain our farmers and agribusinesses because they sustain our rural communities and they're the backbone of our economy. And we're going to be with them 100%.
Keep up the great work, and thank you for being with us on Linder Farm Network.
Well, thank you.